Hello, 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 and welcome to Magic and Musing. If you are brand new to the space, then welcome. My name is Candace, and if you have been hanging around with me for a little while or you're already subscribed to the space, then thank you so much for being here and thank you for supporting this channel and essentially supporting yourself. So we'll get straight into it today. Nothing significant has come through energetically, so we'll just see what comes through and wants to be reflected on and contemplated on. But as you know, for those that have been sticking around with me for a little while, before we get into it, we'll just take a moment to pause and to bring awareness into whatever wants to be reflected on. Yeah, this is interesting, actually. Feeling like the word jumbled wants to be used, but it's not. There's an air of perfectionism, I'll say that. So just bringing awareness to that. But yeah, okay, let's get straight into, let's go into slowing down and tuning in and letting what wants to flow. So if you haven't done this with me or done this before at all, this is just a moment for us to pause and be present with what is. So the invitation is there to shut your eyes, but you obviously do not have to do that if it doesn't feel comfortable. You can have an inward gaze if you so wish. And just witnessing the sensations in the body without necessarily trying to fix it. Witnessing your posture. So I'm witnessing that my body is leaning forward, which has been the case of the last couple of reads, if I'm going to be honest, like leaning forward instead of leaning into the back body. And just breathing some deep belly breaths, just being here, being with yourself. And just being aware of anything, any thoughts, any feelings, any sensations that are in your field right now. Without labeling, without trying to fix. Just focusing on the breath. Especially if you do find it quite challenging to be in your own space, or if like how I used to operate, very mind orientated. Just focusing on the deep breaths in and the deeper exhales out. Bringing in sound if it feels natural and organic to do so. So not trying to force this process, just being with yourself. And even if you completely ignore everything that I'm saying, any prompts right now, that is 100% okay and welcomed. Because only you know what's happening within, only you know only you know your own experience right now. And when you are ready, take some time to, especially if your eyes are closed, just slowly bringing awareness back into the space. And taking a look around your room or whatever space you're in without labeling anything. And just going really slowly. Of course, for the purpose of this video, we are doing this a little bit faster, but usually this is done very slowly. And it's just a way to familiarize yourself back into the space, to encourage a feeling of safety in your environment and in the body. Okay. So, what do we want to pull from today? What wants to be explored? How about... Yep. Okay. So we'll use the Keepers of the Light to just get an overall idea of whatever energy we're dealing with, what the current narrative is or experience. Okay. Okie dokie. What is the go, yo? Oh, why these cards are so sticky. Okay. Okie dokie. Bottom of the deck, we've got Sununos, Life Force. Express your driving passion. Sensual and sexual powers are increased. Wow. Okay, let me just adjust my table. Don't mind me, I'm a very slow coffee drinker, so I'm going to enjoy my coffee while I'm doing this. Okay, so we've got Saint Germain, karma releasing. Move beyond drama, create your own path, make room for good energy. Lord Ganesh, infinite abundance. Obstacles are being removed. Spiritual support and connections are increasing. And Archangel Michael, trusting heaven, you are safe. Angels stand close. Surrender your concerns and allow a miracle to occur. So irrespective of whether you connect with these deities or not, whether you even believe in them, that's not the point of using a deck like this that uses goddesses and sages and deities, right? It's about the message. So the overall gist of what is being received here is about letting go is significant. And whatever that is going to look different for everybody. Letting go of ideas of something or about something, thoughts, beliefs. Because essentially what this can create is these obstacles, right? These obstacles that can, let's use the word block us from tapping into an energy or an essence of something that is beyond our wildest dreams, right? That is infinite. And this is very interesting, very curious, because of late, the readings have been about letting go of, well, pretty much exactly what it's saying here, letting go of just giving myself a moment here, just pausing. This pause is I'm hearing the word infinite, which is fascinating, because when we pause, when we are in a space or a experience of allowing presence, what comes from that is infinite. We are abiding in going beyond presence is infinite, is infinity, is an aspect of ourselves that we cannot even, and I'm just noticing I need to lean back again, cannot even fathom, right? Like, what is available to us is beyond our wildest dreams. And did I just say that before? But the reason this is this is strange. Like, the words are not wanting to be expressed. It's like, it's this energy of just feeling it, like sensing it, like sensing divinity in its purest form, like without the body, because we are not this tangible body, right? But just witnessing this sense of it's this energetic charge that I'm finding quite difficult to explain in words. It's oh my God, how do I explain this? How do I put this into language that people can understand? Okay, thank you. Life force. Life force. I'm going to read the card, irrespective if it's got to do with sensual or sexual powers. I will read, where is it? I will read the card. These reads are getting more and more interesting as the more and more, like, we're disconnecting from language. Okay. So Sanunos, I keep saying Sanunos, it's pronounced Kanunos, also known as Herne, Herne, is a Celtic stag god who represents connection to the earth. He is one of the oldest recognized Celtic gods and features on the Gundenstrup cauldron, a giant silver vessel from the Iron Age. He is the lover of the Great Mother and impregnates the land so it be filled with life. He can help us form a connection with the animal spirits and ancestors of our land. And then the extended message is, there is a deep buildup of life force within you now and a need to channel it into action. You may have extra energy or be more alert than usual, or be aware of a sense of increased sensual or sexual energy. If you have been unsure how this ties into your spiritual path, know that it can allow you to access the riches of your soul. This is what is being felt, is this, it's like electricity. It's like this still having difficulty expressing this. It's like this chemistry, like this bubbling in the body. And what I take from that is, if we can detach from the things that are not aligned with that, in this card it says move beyond drama. So whether that be external drama or projections, what I was trying to say before this energy just completely took over, the reads of late have been about letting go, and even recorded a podcast episode about and mentioned, you know, outward, being aware of projections, whether they are from other people or yourself, because we can project too, right? So there's this need to just witness the places where you are absorbing these projections or absorbing what is happening external to us, because there's so much going on, right? There's so much shit going on. And there is this tendency, especially with, you know, social media and the media and all of this, we have this ability to absorb, and water, the water element is coming into mind, or awareness. We have this ability to absorb it like a sponge and hold on to it. And I'm just getting this energy and this sense of heaviness. Like if you take all of that on, whether it's directly linked to your experience, as in people actually projecting towards you or you projecting towards them, or having conflict with people, or if it's not, if it's, you know, things happening on the other side of the world that you're engaging in, and it's creating a alchemical process within you, there's a need to be aware of how these things affect you on a energetic level. And not just energetic, but also the mind, like what stories the mind is creating from what you're seeing and what you're hearing, and just being discerning with everything that we're consuming right now, because it's fucking rampant, right? We're living in this age of advanced technology, so there's a need to be aware, to be aware of what is happening within us. And that can only happen through presence, and through presence practices, whatever that is for you. And in so doing, becoming aware of it and actually working with it, then determining what fits and what doesn't, what feels like it's part of the life force. Like, is it, I'm hearing, is it helping or hindering, which is something that is said occasionally. Is it helping or hindering? Is it adding to this buildup of energy? But is it, how does that want to be said? There's also this thing about, are you directing this energy into something creative? Are you, how does that want to be said? Are you, and I literally did a read on this for 2 different signs. Are you using that energy and alchemizing it in a way that helps or hinders? Does that make sense? Like, yeah. So it's just about understanding what is happening, how all this worldly stuff is affecting us, or I call it the mundane stuff, like anything that is mundane is of the earth, is of this 3D, right? So how are you allowing, and how are you receiving, and either alchemizing that in a productive way, or disengaging completely, or are you allowing it to charge you in a way that can energize the that energizes it in a way that is not supportive to your path, to the path to oneness consciousness. So there's a narrative or a story here about being aware that support is always around you, right? Whatever that looks like, whether that looks like people coming to your life, because abundance, infinite abundance, can be so many different things. We all connect with that word abundance differently. It could mean a beautiful support network and community, financial abundance or stability, family. This is a very interesting read. I'll be very honest with you. So yeah, there is a story here about just knowing that you are supported in this process, and you don't have to go it alone, because you're not alone, right? There are how many people on this planet, and we're not just looking at it from a body's perspective. We're looking at it from a, you are presence itself. You are consciousness itself. So this is part of this fucking process. It's part of this experience. And if anything, that helps. That knowing that we all have this role to play does bring hope, does bring an awareness and understanding of it just brings a sense of calm, because we know that this is part of the journey. As shite as it is, as horrific and traumatic as it is, the things going on in the world, there is an aspect of not being able to control it, because we're not meant to control it. It's just part of the path. It's part of this experience. So I'm going on a bit of a tangent here, but I don't know, this energy is legit. And when that Kanunos, man, I'm just going to say Sanunos, because that's how that's how I like it. This energy speaks of sensual and sexual powers, right? I'm not so connected to the sexual powers, well, in this read anyway, but sensuality, I've spoken about this many times, maybe not in this space, but podcast and other spaces, about what sensuality is. It's basically just connecting to the divine, or connecting to our environment through the senses. That's all it is. It can be tied in with sexuality, and there is an aspect of sexuality in there, but I feel that all of that has been taken to a level that diminishes the true meaning of all of this, of sensuality, sexuality, eros. But let's not get carried away with that. In this read, all I'm speaking to is the sensuality aspect of being aware of how this drama, let's use that, right? It's coming up here. How this drama, if it's not in your immediate environment, then looking at it from a broader perspective, how this drama is infiltrating into your experience through the senses, like what you're watching, what you're listening to, what I just, I sometimes laugh in these vids because I have these little experiences and I don't speak on it. I just witness it and then have a little chuckle while I'm doing the reads. So yeah, as I'm saying, anyway, it doesn't really matter. Getting very, very carried away here. So there's just a sense to just trust the process. This has been coming through a lot of the reads. Just trust the process. Let go of holding on to any, and I know this is hard, right? Because this shit is happening. This is happening to people, all this stuff. This is part of our world. So it is hard to not get involved in it. The inquiry is just witnessing how it is affecting you, or affecting your experience and how you relate to yourself and how you relate to other people, and the stories that we can be creating around all of this. I'm being brought, the awareness is being brought to the COVID situation, right? When COVID came about, and I did not think I was going to be talking about this stuff in today's read, but here we are. It created so much segregation. People were arguing, people were disconnecting from themselves, essentially, right? From themselves, because we are all one consciousness. So connecting from a part of themselves that did not like a certain narrative. And so instead of dealing with that, with the shadow of that, what did we do? We were like, he said, she said, you're V'd and you're not V'd, and blah blah blah, like all of the segregation, and it's just playing out again in a completely different form. And these are happening for a reason. This is happening to teach us about, well, it's actually here to help us remember who we are. And there are people who are, slowly unraveling from it. But it's so tangible, it's so in our faces, that how the fuck can we expect everybody to just go, oh yeah, love, man, peace and good vibes. Like, it's hard when everyone is at each other's throats because this stuff has been shoved down our throats. Wow. Whose energy is being, anyway. Okay. Let's take a break. Let's take a pause. Let's take a breath. The main thing I'm picking up from these is to not allow your perspectives and your beliefs about what is happening around you in your immediate environment or external or even within you, right? Like what's happening on an internal level. Be aware of how that is expressed, how that is projected. And particularly with yeah, that's it. Just be very aware of your own perceptions, of your own beliefs. Because the only thing we actually have control over, and I don't think everybody will agree with me on this, and that's okay. The only thing we can control is how we react to things, is how we respond. Deep. Okay, let's shift up a bit and just pull some random cards and get some more things. Like, what the fuck, man? I'm seeing the Three of Swords in the shadow, which can reflect or which can describe an energy of walking away from the things that are feeling hopeless, or walking away from hopeless situations or situations that have incurred some type of heartbreak, pain, suffering, grief. And not like physically like walking away. It's about release. It's about releasing attachment to it. And it's about healing from it. All right. Okay, what else needs to be seen for this? Just said. So when I first saw that, it came out in the shadow, but now it's in the upright, right? So Three of Swords is how can we put the pieces back together? How can we heal from, this is heavy. One moment. How can we heal from the suffering, from the pain? How can we, Four of Wands, celebrate and remember and feel connected to who we really are, and connected to the experiences that we have on this earth, on this plane, that uplift us and take us out of a certain frequency that lend to, and I've just placed it on this card, to more abundance, however, whatever that looks like for you, however that presents itself in your life. Because sometimes people say, oh, you're coming into abundance, and people automatically think, ooh, I'm going to be rich, I'm going to get all this money. And yeah, that is the case for some, but it's about defining or being open-hearted and open-hearted to what abundance actually is, like what that can look like for you. And we've got the Empress showing up here. So this is about nurturing energy, healing, creativity, birthing. Very nurturing energy. And then we've got the Ten of Pentacles that's come up in the shadow. So if this is a situation about, or if a reflection about, you know, your home life, your family life, or even connections, there is a energy here of remembering and hold. How does this want to be said? Just reflecting on the stories that we're holding on to about certain people, situations that take us away from the actual experience of it. Hope that makes sense. Like Four of Wands is about, you know, celebration and union and connectedness. And so is the ten of Pentacles in the upright. You know, it's about connection and things coming into stability and celebrating family and traditions and all of that. So what I get from this is about just remembering and nurturing the experiences either with those connections or with something else, even ourselves. That bring us into that state or that frequency or that vibration of abundance. Ten of Pentacles in the upright, right? It's abundance. Let's get a couple more cards from the tarot and then we'll switch decks. So there is a story here about support. So having support, finding support. Being your own support as well. King of Cups. Trusting your own guidance, trusting yourself, trusting the process, being in the state of nurturing energy. Empress and King of Cups. So I did say before the water came through, and King of Cups is water energy. So we are made up of, what is it, 80%, 90% water, right? So there's a need to speak about the, what is that professor's name? I forget the professor. Me and in the English language. I'm just gonna, is it Professor Komoto or Dr. Komoto or something like that? He did this experiment with water, and he had put them into these bits of water into different for fuck's sake. It's not pastry dishes. It's petri dishes, whatever the fuck they're called, man. So, so he had all these dishes, petri dishes. He had all these petri dishes out with water in it, and he put a label on them, on each of them, labeling them different emotions. So one would have, I don't remember the exact labels he gave them. One would have sadness, and one would have grief, and one would have happiness and contentment and all this. And I don't know how long that stood for, but when they were finished with that part of the experiment, they looked at it again under a microscope, and the formations of these water particles was incredible. Like the ones that were, and I might share this on my Instagram if I can find it. The particles that had the positive emotions or sensations or feelings were beautiful, like these snowflake looking projections, right? And the ones that had the lower frequency or vibration words looked like dangerous or slightly evil. So if you think about that experiment and reflect on it from a perspective of we are mostly made up out of water, you can understand why people talk a lot about vibration and energy and all of that, and what you say and what you think and how that all affects your being and your life force, right? This energy. So that's what I was speaking to before of being aware of how you're alchemizing or interpreting any information that is coming through to you from whichever space, or whether this is connections or whether this is just shit that's happening in life, right? This is such a broad read, so just take it how it resonates. So the fact that the King of Cups is here is he is very much in tune with these emotions. He is the one of the strongest characters of the tarot that speak to emotional intelligence and emotional awareness, and being able to be vulnerable but still be in your, like, he's the masculine, right? So it's saying that you can be all the things in a sense. You can be masculine and be vulnerable. You can be feminine and be dominant, because we are all of it. We are one consciousness. Okay, one more. One more, then we'll move to another deck. Eight of Swords. This is probably one of my favorite depictions in this deck, the Eight of Swords card. So this is speaking of, for the most part, self-inflicted entrapment, how we can perceive that we are like, being very careful with my words here, how we can perceive that we're in a state of being victimized, or being in a state of victimhood, or feeling trapped, but so a lot of it is self-imposed. Like if you look at the expression of the card, it's just a reflection. So that's just within the mind. I'm getting that. So swords in this deck, swords is represented by, I don't know if they're crows or ravens. And swords in the tarot is logic, it's mind, it's intellect, like it's basically mind, like thinking and so forth. So this is all self-inflicted entrapment. It's the best way I can put it, really. So just being aware of how we can create stories, narratives, beliefs that limit us from anything that is readily available to us, with abundance here and karma releasing. One second. There's something that's wanting to be spoken to, so I'm just giving it space. it's just a deep need to exhale and release these mental constructs around not even around anything in particular, just releasing ideas or narratives that are truly creating obstacles in a way that is creating unnecessary karma. So when karma is reflected on in this space, it's not how karma is usually perceived or how I used to perceive karma back in the day. It's these how does this one be explained? It's self-inflicted, right? If we're not working through our shadow and working through the ways in which we are creating more suffering for ourselves, like attaching to beliefs that are not not in alignment with who we are or not true, we are creating unnecessary pain and suffering, and therefore karma that then has to be reworked through. Like, for example, like patterns, patterns that keep repeating itself, things that keep repeating itself, but in different ways. So for example, if like an experience is, some experience could be having fallouts with people, but it's the same story, just with different people, if that makes sense. So for example, like dealing with people who you've had a strong connection with but then ghost you, right? Instead of creating more suffering, telling yourself these stories about people that are going to ghost you, or like blocking off your heart to any experience that wants to come through, really reflect on what that story is trying to teach you. So for example, what is it, like looking deep into the relationship, into the connection, into the behavior from both parties. Like, okay, I'm getting a bit deep here, but essentially that's what I'm trying to speak to in terms of karma, is these underlying patterns that will keep repeating itself, and for the most part it just keeps getting, it's like a snowball effect. Like the more it's not worked through, the more intense and heavier it gets. One of the examples I've already shared, we as a collective consciousness have gone through COVID, and things happen there. Actually, it goes even further back, but I'm just using these examples because they've already been spoken to. So like COVID, and then the segregation happening. We had, I'm South African, so we experienced apartheid, and now it's happening again. So it's like apartheid. Like it keeps repeating itself, and humanity is just not fucking getting it. Like they're going through these repeated patterns of creating more fucking karma. So I really did not fucking expect to be talking about this shit today. But I guess not even gonna make anything stories about it. It just is. Ugh, and that coffee is horrendously cold. Ugh. Okay, let's pull out a few more cards and see if there's anything else that wants to be spoken to here. smelling burning. I don't think it's here. Oh. Okay. So we've had the growth card come out. And this came out in maybe the Pisces collective. I'm not sure. We've got spiritual cleansing. So, you know, we reflect on all of this that's happening outside of ourselves to like in the outside world as a spiritual cleansing, as a reset of sorts. We've also got new life and protection. So what I get from this, we've also got courage at the bottom. I feel like a form of protection, apart from boundaries and, you know, however other people refer to protection, is using your discernment. Using your discernment with any, I mean, putting down boundaries with certain things, like how much of something we consume, whatever it is. And also understanding that sometimes things need space. You know, sometimes you need to take a time out, or sometimes you need to not watch a particular thing that keeps creating this unsavory charge, you know. I've also got, I did pull that up, new life, and I feel like that happens when we can discern. That happens when we do discern, because we stop feeding into all this dogma and bullshit. We stop entertaining these narratives, these spirals of thought that take us away from who we really are. Just loving, compassionate beings. Like, we're here for a fucking reason. We're here to experience the best of humanity, and, you know, we're here to experience it all. But we can discern and choose. And I use the word choose lightly because that implies some sort of control. We can operate from a space that is not from a place of suffering, I should say. We can operate from a place of just pure nurturing and love and compassion and understanding and vulnerability, you know. Okay, one more day. I've just seen synchronicities, so keep an eye out for any synchronicities. Patience on the split. Just seen effort, and a funny thing, I was like just thinking about that card. That takes effort to detach yourself from any narratives. Like, this shit's gonna play out regardless, right? It's gonna play out in whichever way. It's detaching from creating any stories around it. particularly stories that do lend to, you know, suffering and projecting, either you projecting or other people projecting, or, you know, one more shuffle. Oh, okay. Anyway. What else? What else? What else? So we've got self-discipline, and that to me in this context feels similar to that effort card, like being aware of your thoughts and processes around all of this. It takes effort, it takes self-discipline. We've got self-love, and I don't feel like that is just love within yourself, it's just love for humanity. And we've got relationship change. So this could go either way, changing the relationship with yourself, changing the relationship with others, and you know, stepping away from or be discerning with relationships or connections that, I'm not saying walk away from it, perhaps just, you know, taking a time out from those types of connections that are not allowing growth. Although there's also a need to say that any connections we have, any relationships, whatever that is, family, friends, community, there is growth in every single connection we have. There's just a need to witness projections and witness, yeah, this is so funny because I was literally listening to a podcast about this earlier, and I don't usually listen to podcasts, so it was very interesting. I was talking about complexes and projections. So just being aware of, and, you know, bringing tarot into it, being aware of how we're creating a complex and creating projections from the things that are happening in our immediate or not so immediate environment. Yeah, let's do that. We'll pull a couple of cards from the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. So, did I talk about this? The relationship change, that, you know, that could be, if you're coming from a discerning lens and knowing who you are, remembering who you are, your connections are just different. Different. Okay. What are some healing messages or any messages that need to be heard by anyone watching this particularly interesting video? Or read, I should say. Okay. That's a bit of a lot. I won't take those, but I will, because that's a lot. But I'll just read you what it says. Amplifying abundance. Oh, fuck it, I'll just take them all. Just choose which one resonates with you. Abundance is my birthright and I receive it now. I'll leave the two last ones that I wanted to show you. Awakening inspired action. There is only what life is asking of me. Right? So just being in the now. Activating the third eye. I'm willing to see beyond my beliefs, ideas, and conclusions. Or me just say. acknowledging apprehension. When it's a yes, nothing can stop me. When I'm unsure, it's always a no. Show you the back of that. Creating cooperation. More gets accomplished when everyone has a role to play. These cards are pretty much everything I've been saying. Well, not I. Everything that's coming through this meat sack. Healing a heartbreak. Where's that card? Right? Healing heartbreak. My heart will love again. Someone needs to hear that. And overcoming fear. I will transcend every loss. Same vibe. Interesting. Same vibe. All right, my loves. I'm going to leave it there before I molt. It's getting quite hot here now. Thank you so much for sticking around if you stuck till the end. Very, very interesting read. Did not see that coming, I'll be honest. But take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. If any of this resonated with you, let me know in the comments below. Email me. I'd love to hear from you. Other than that, yeah, take care of yourself and others, and sending you lots of hugs and love, and I will see you in the next video. Mwah.